10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Coming soon. Snake River Manufacturing is developing a revolutionary new way to design and build a custom kayak trailer. This modular design lets you customize your trailer one piece at a time, allowing you to grow as you go.
Looking for unbeatable customer service and a kayak shop that truly cares? At No Bad Days Kayak, Forrest and his team treat every customer like family. With unmatched attention to detail, they'll even ship your dream kayak anywhere in the U.S. No stress, no hassle, no bad days. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for episode 24 of the Kayak Cafe. On this episode, we have a very, very smart gentleman who's done a lot of things for the industry, and we're going to get right into that. This episode is also brought to you by Vibe Kayaks. So, Vibe Kayaks, whether you're chasing the perfect catch or just craving some peace of mind on the water, Vibe Kayaks is your ride to freedom. Built for all skill levels and any water, fresh, salty, or somewhere in between, Vibe delivers premium kayak performance without the drama or cost. From the ultra versatile Shearwater 125 to the throw and go agility of the Makana 100 to ultra portable inflatables, every Vibe kayak is crafted to elevate your experience on the water. So gear up, get out there, and do what you do. All right. So if you guys have a chance, go to snakerivermanufacturing.us and check out everything Steve has going on. They're very innovative, and they're coming up with some things that are going to blow your mind and make getting your kayak to the water a breeze, and you'll be styling while you do it. Go to nobaddays.kayak.com. Forrest and his crew are having a huge sale. Unfortunately, I think it's a liquidation sale, but go ahead there and check them out, see what they've got going on, and maybe you get a good deal. Also, go to vibekayak.com. You can pick up a great competition rig or even a tandem for you and the family. So awesome. Well, on this episode, we have Al Paliani. He is, I've met him before. He's a great individual, and he's done some amazing things in the industry, and I think for the industry. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Al in. How's it going, Al?
Hey man, we're doing great. Go back to the beginning with that Snake River kayak, where they were modularly building that trailer.
Yes, sir.
That was fantastic. I was actually sitting there like, wow, I want to see more.
Oh yeah. Steve and his crew. Steve is an engineer, and he's basically always going 1,000 miles a minute. So they're creating a base that can basically be the starting point for almost anything you want. So you don't have to buy that Mac Daddy rig. You buy the base, and then you can just put it on there as you go.
Add as you need.
Like the Subway sandwich,
Yeah,
just like I just want chicken. Nope, I want everything. Yeah. So
no, I saw that and I was like, man, that's nice. All right, I want to thank you for that nice intro.
I try. I had the pleasure of meeting you at one of the Heroes on the Water events. Yeah,
Yep.
it was a great time. Genuine as you are online as you are in person, just as funny. So
And we actually took your kayak and did a video.
yes, we did.
Went from one end to the other and talked about everything on it.
Yep, and there was a
Yeah, it
gentleman
was
on the
great.
bank who was videoing me, hoping I would flip it. I sadly did not give him his viral moment. So,
Yeah, and I was
um,
standing on the dock, and I could not get my zoom to go that far out.
mm,
I got to buy a new camera so I can zoom further. But
oh,
yeah, and
nice.
it was great. And you did mention Heroes on the Water.
Hmm.
And if you're not familiar with these people, please check them out. They're fantastic people. We work with the Tidewater chapter and the
Hmm.
Fredericksburg chapter, and they're wonderful people.
Yep. Heroesonthewater.org. If there isn't a chapter
Yep,
close to you, then you should start one.
that's right. That's right. I agree.
All right, Al. For those that don't know you, give a rundown of who you are and what you do.
All right, for those that don't know me, I'm sorry to hear that, but because everybody knows me in some way, shape, or form. All right, I was, you know, I'll just real quick. I was born in New York, basically raised there. I worked for New York Telephone when I got out. When I retired from the phone company, I came down here to do some work and just met my wife and ended up staying here. That's a nutshell. I've been a lifelong member of BASS since the 80s. I
Nice.
love fishing. Grew up on a lake in New York too, so that helped a lot. I started tournament fishing probably around 2000 down here with ABA,
Hmm.
and we fished the FLW back when it was the Stren series. Then that moved on. Now it's the Toyota series. Then I went to fish with bass on the opens. Then I started Greg Oat Lures,
Mm.
quality built, affordably priced spinner baits. You can still see it behind us. It's still here. It kind of faded out a little, but it's coming back. Then we started the network. We started the network when I got hurt my shoulder, couldn't fish no more, and I was like, "Nah, I got to stay in this business. I love it. I love the people. This is, it's like anything. Unlike other sports, we all stand there. We all sit in our boats, and when they call our number,
Hmm.
we go out, we fish. But if you break down or if somebody sees something that doesn't look right, they're going to swing over and make sure you're okay. We are family first, and that's what makes this a great sport.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of conversation between the differences between boats and kayaks and the level of camaraderie and stuff like that. But I know that as being a boat owner previously, there everyone will stop and help you. You know
Oh yeah,
that. It depends on how close you are to winning as to how soon you get that help, but you'll
or
get
how
the help.
close you are to
That's
your
true.
weigh-in.
That's very true.
You know,
So,
if you got 10 minutes and it's an 8-minute drive, you're driving by the boat going, "I'll call someone." you know.
so when you were in New
But yeah,
York, did you do a lot of fishing in New York, or is that where it
um,
started?
I started fishing on the lake when I was younger.
Hmm.
You know, the lake I had was more perch and sunnies, but I got my love for fishing there. Then when I went in the army, I was based out in Texas, so that's where I got into more bass fishing, bigger lakes and bigger fish.
Yeah.
Then I came back, went back to New York, did a little fishing here and there.
Hmm.
The real fishing didn't start till I moved here to Virginia. Well, Maryland.
Right.
That's when I really started fishing because it was New York. It's seasonal. You can only fish for so many months out of the year, and then it's done. Whereas I came down to Maryland, and this guy goes, it was like November. He goes, "You want to go fishing?" I was like, "It's November." He goes, "Yeah, we fish all year round." I was like, "Really? Oh, I like this place."
So, did you do any fishing in the military? Because I know a lot of people. Did you travel anywhere and do any fishing? Because then we had Chancey Cotton on here, and he was
No,
like, "When I was no." I always thought that was
nah, we
funny.
were.
One of the places he went was a high level location. I was like, I wonder.
No, I was at Fort Hood.
Hmm.
Stayed there, and we fished a lot of the lakes on base. I had a sergeant who loved fishing and had his own rods, and that's so we fished there. And the little bit of traveling I did, we really didn't bring fishing rods with us. It was kind of frowned on.
Gotcha. Like,
So
where's your tent? I need a room for this rod. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and, they're like weapons first.
So, now, what type of fishing do you like to do now? Are you mainly bass fishing, or are you like myself? You started a fishing business and have no time to fish.
I do get out fishing. I mean, I don't get out as much as I'd like. I'll break free and I'll run down. I'm wedged between. I got the Potomac River a half mile to one side. I got the Rappahannock River like 10 miles, 11 miles to the other side of me.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of wedged between the two of the best rivers down here. And I get out and fish once in a while. I was going to bring my rod with me today. I had to go down to Osborne for the MLF Invitational.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I'd get there early, but I had so much other stuff I wanted to do. I left the rods home. But yeah, I do try to get out. I don't tournament fish no more because of a bad shoulder. I can get out and fish for an hour or two, and that's about my limit now. Still love my bass fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing beats it. But the one thing I would love to get my shoulder built up a little stronger, I used to go fly fishing in New
Ooh.
York. That was the one thing we used to love doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to get back, and now that I'm older and I have more of an idea what it is, I'd like to get back out there and do it again.
Have you ever seen a Tenkara rod?
No.
It's basically like a cane pole, but it's a fly
Oh,
rod,
okay.
and it's just a pull and spling it, so you don't have to do the shaking, but you're limited to like maybe a 15, 20 foot cast. So
All right.
not one of those
Yeah, when I did it,
60s.
we didn't have all that when we were younger back in the 70s. We did it with the Zepco.
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
just kind of cast as far as you could, and then you just sat there going like this, letting the line out and letting the lure go drift. That
Let
was
it go
it.
downstream. Yeah.
Yeah. Cast on the other side, so by the time it gets 50, 60 feet away from you, it's kind of swung its way toward the center.
So what inspired you to start the American Angler Outdoors? And for those people that don't know what the American Angler Outdoors, can you give like a high level what it is, real quick?
Sure. We're a streaming network. We're available on mobile apps, iOS, Android. We're available on Roku and the website. You can go to the website to see our main channel on there. Well, I guess we're a streaming TV network dedicated to the outdoors, mainly hunting and fishing. We're trying to branch out a little more. Excuse me. But that's basically it. We take shows from people. People send us videos, and we put them on the network, and we just play them. We we have been doing different channels.
Mm-hmm.
We had a kayak channel, a bass channel, a hunting channel. Getting programming to keep that fresh every day is hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been watching the Story Channel a lot. I love hearing about the past.
Mm-hmm.
And the Story Channel had a commercial, which is just like the commercial we have now. This on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So now we're Kayak Monday, all kayak fishing on Monday, Tech Tuesday, all tech stuff, whether it's how to or people building lures or even like, Snake River Manufacturing. Maybe we can get a video of them building a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Live Well Wednesday, which is all podcasters, Hunting Thursday. Friday's supposed to be Bass Fishing Friday, and then Wide Open Weekends, just a recap of the week. So that's where we've come to now.
Gotcha.
But it was started mainly for the purpose of, if you went to the Outdoor Channel or the World Fishing Network or any of those, they gave you a 5-page list of what you had to do before you could even submit a show to them.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to have a production company behind you. You had to have a dozen people to get a show on there. This, we go for MP4s, 1080 or better. We want good videos, but you know what? We all know what we get when we're out on the water. So we'll clean it up a little. But
Okay.
we want to give the person who can't do that a chance to get on TV.
So what got you inspired to launch it? I know that you said that you were injured and you fired it up then, but there had to be, it had to be like
I've always wanted a show on TV. To be honest, that's why I say they give you a 5-page letter before they let you submit a show idea, because I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had some show ideas that I thought was good, but they're like, nah, you got to have a catch. You got to have that one person that's a little quirky or something like that. You know how all these shows were back
Mm-hmm.
5, 6 years ago. So I was like, no, I I I started doing. We originally started it as just an internet. It was just going to be on the internet on the website,
Mm-hmm.
and then the company we did it through, they said, "Hey Al, you talked about how much would it be to go on Roku and all this. We got a great sale." So I was like, "Great, I'll do it." I paid a one-time fee
Mm-hmm.
to get everything done, and then a year came by, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to start paying 400 a month and all this." And they're like, "No, that at one time that fee you paid, that's how much you pay every year." I was like, "That's less than 2 months worth of programming." He
Mm.
goes, "Yeah, but your grandfather did, so it stays." I
Heck
was like,
yeah.
"Okay, yeah," but yeah, I want to give everybody an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give the guy that's fishing or hunting and says, Al, I can put together a 26-minute show, and every Tuesday night, I can have my own show on the network. I can do it. And that's what I want to do. I want to give everybody an opportunity to get on TV. We're coast to coast. Anyone that has a Roku TV can watch it. We're going to add more. We keep here, we're going to put Fire TV, Apple TV. Well, over time, we'll add some more, streaming services.
Right. So how did you come up with the name, the American Angler Outdoors Network?
At the time, it just seemed, we were just doing, you know, we had a dozen names. And then you know as well as I do, and everybody out there, you go to GoDaddy, you get in there, RegalOarsFishing.com. Take it.
Mm-hmm.
What? $4,000? No, that's not right. And then I just put in the American Angler Outdoors, and it came up with .com, and it came up with available, and it was cheap, and it was a good name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was what we are. We're the American Angler Outdoors. So it kind of got the fishing, the outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
and patriotism all in there together. And you can
It's
see by our logo, it's done that way.
yeah. It's funny to hear you say that because I've had a lot of situations where I've talked to people and they started the business, done everything. They don't have a website, and I'm like, "Do you have that domain name?" No, no, I'm fine. And then later on, you could see it says like, "I do barbecue, Virginia Beach, by the courthouse." It's like you have to have this long name because somebody's already taken it. So,
Yep. Yeah, when we did it, I was like, I want a shorter version.
mm-hmm.
So I went with TAAO.com. And that's it's an organization that I didn't want to mess with in Texas.
Mm, yeah,
So I went with TAAO.net, and I was like, that just doesn't. Well, wait, we're a streaming television service, TAAO.live. What better way?
yeah.
It just sounded right at the time.
So, how has the direction of the network changed since like you started it? I mean, I know that when you started it was like pretty much fishing. Now you know,
Yeah, we've added stuff. We still have a lot more growing to do. We have I have pages of ideas that I want to do.
mm-hmm.
But originally we started just to do fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And we started out with kayak fishing. That is and always will be our primary goal is kayak fishing. Because every other fishing, bass fishing, saltwater fish, they all had their big channels. They had everything. Kayak fishing, when we started, was just starting to roll up. It was just
Mm-hmm.
starting to get popular. And I was like, let's give these guys a place to go. And we've still stayed true to that.
Mm-hmm.
And we added hunting because some of our content creators also do hunting videos. So I was like, well, why don't we add that to it also? Shows Ted Polanowski from Off the Hook.
Mm-hmm.
He does lore building, he does hunting, he does fishing, he does a podcast. So I was like, we got a couple of guys like that. So why don't we expand? One day a week will be all hunting. One day
Mm-hmm.
a week will be all podcasting. So that's how that came about. And I like it. I think it's working good. The future, there's like we were talking before,
Mm-hmm.
and I was even talking to some people today. The future is really good. One, I want to get, I want to go from having a 15-minute episode, somebody building like a plastic lure for 15 minutes, then somebody else doing something for 10, and just splicing 4 or 5 videos to get a 1 hour video.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep those because I like them, but I want to get the lure builders and others to do a nice 26-minute video. This way we get 2 minutes before, 2 minutes after to throw some commercials in. And I want to get regular shows. I want people to say, hey, every Thursday night, come watch Roy's Fishing Adventures
Mm-hmm.
at 8 p.m. And at 8:30, it's Al's hunting, whatever. I want people just like the big networks. Regular programming from 8 to 11. And the rest of the time, we can throw all the other stuff in there.
So, have you found any content that resonates with the viewers more than others? Like, is there something that's doing better than?
The kayak fishing.
Mm.
That seems to, I'll sit here and on Kayak Monday,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have 100, 125 views during the day. The rest of the week, 70 to 80. And then the following Monday, we're back up again. But also the time of the year. We
Mm-hmm.
get closer to October. Well, September, October, the Hunting Channel, we throw a lot of food plots, this, that on there. So that will see a little bit more of an uptick, because people want to see, hey, here's how they're doing their food plots. Let me get a shot at that. So it is seasonal. The kayak will slow down come November, December, January,
Mm-hmm.
and come April, it'll start to pick back up. That's why I want to have a variety. So there's something for everyone all year round.
Do you try to balance the educational versus entertainment? So, like, if you have someone who's coming in with stuff, do you ask them, "Hey, I love what you're doing. It's funny stuff. Can you give me some educational, some DIYs or something like that?"
When you talk to some of these kayakers and hunt, like the majority of almost all of our content creators right now, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to ask, because Michael Hansen
Mm-hmm.
from Binya Outdoors, Michael has been with me since day one. He was one of our first content creators. And Daniel Woodcock from Southeast Georgia, KBF. You
Mm-hmm.
know Daniel.
Yep.
Daniel was also there from the beginning. And these two guys, they go out fishing, and they just inevitably, hey, yeah, we're out here having a good time. We're throwing this, and they'll not only get you interested by catching fish, but they'll show you what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So they do it automatically, these guys.
Okay. Um, so let's say someone wants to get on your network. Um, how would they go about it? What's the first steps?
Well, it's real simple. I don't, if you go to the website, you'll see how to submit a show idea or a show.
Mm-hmm.
You just read it. It'll tell you what we look for. Fill it out. I don't make people jump through hoops. There's not a long process. You'll hear from us within 6 to 8 months. You'll usually hear from me within 6 to 8 hours, a day or two at the most.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, I'll let you know. I feel as you took the time to write me, as soon as I get that email, it may take me a few hours to see the email and be able
Mm-hmm.
to respond. I'm going to respond, even if to say, hey, I got it. I'm going to review it tomorrow. I'll get back to you in a day or two. I feel I owe you that courtesy. I owe you that courtesy. And then we'll look at it, we'll review it, and we'll go from there. You don't have to make a big production.
Mm-hmm.
Your videos, just get out there and be real. Be yourself.
So if someone let's say someone has a video that's like they have one video. Is there a potential for that one video making it in the rotation?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I get 20, 30 people that submit one or two videos every couple of months, that's still there. And it fills that hour long. We do blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So it puts something in there. We can have one of our regulars and throw that in, then a regular. Or we can have it just get in there so it's something different.
Okay.
Whether you want to do it once, and then I'll tell you, right, if somebody sits back, turns on the TV, clicks Roku, hits the channel, and they see themselves on their big screen TV, they're going to want to come back.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to want, hey, can I do more? What do I need to do? Just film yourself. And today, this right here
Mm-hmm.
can do some beautiful filming.
All right, so we're coming up close to the halfway mark. We're a little bit before. I'm going to go ahead and do the midway question and answer.
Okay, great.
That way we could break off into some more in-depth conversation about the network. So send out a questionnaire for Al, and anyone who answered is entered in the Kayak Coffee giveaway through the Kayak Cafe. All right, so Steve, it's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Steve Burge with Heroes on the Water, Tidewater asks 3 questions. First one, what got you into production?
To put it plain and simple, it's something I've always liked. I've always liked photography when I was younger. And as I got older, I wanted to do something like this. And when I heard that in order to get my show, if I wanted to do one, onto the Outdoor Channel or any of those channels, what I had to do, I needed to learn how to be a producer, how to be a writer, how to be a cameraman, how to be a sound engineer. So I started to learn. And like we said earlier, when I realized I'm not getting on those channels, I'm just going to create my own. But yeah, it's something I've really been interested in for a long time anyway. Just this gave me a reason to do it.
Yeah. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Second question. Do you have an editor or cinematographer, or do you do everything?
You're looking at it. You're looking at everything.
Wearing all the hats.
I do. In fact, I keep forgetting. You can see the TV behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Normally I'll sit here and I'll get everything up, and that'll mirror what's on here, and I'll just spin around with my pen and paper and start writing. Or sometimes I'll take that and put it on a little table so it's next to the screen I have here, and I'll just look between the two. But yeah, I have to do everything, and it shows in my work because it's not too professional. And I keep telling everybody, if you want professional, you're on the wrong coast.
Yeah.
I'm not Hollywood. This isn't $1 million production.
Yeah.
It's more of a hot dog and, Coke, a cup of soda, some soda and a hot dog. Have a good day.
Oh, yeah. All right. Third question. What is the most difficult part about running your business?
Getting content creators. I send out at least a dozen emails a week. I have tons of YouTube channels I follow, and I just follow them for a few weeks. I look at their videos, and then I'll say, hey, this person would be a good match. I'll send an email. I hear back maybe 1 out of 6 people will write back.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping it'd be a little higher, but it's about 1 out of 6. But I still have their channels, even though they don't write back. Because I still like watching their stuff, and I just want to be prepared in case they write back in 2 months. And I say, yeah, man, I've been keeping up with you for the last 2 months. Here, this, and this. But yeah, it's getting content creators. Now that we do the programming, I physically, before everything ran on autopilot, all I had to do was sit back, add videos to the network and to the different channels, and the autopilot did everything. Now we condensed it to one channel.
Mm-hmm.
I have to physically go in, like today's Friday. So tomorrow I'll go in and I'll take Kayak Monday. I'll go to Monday's date, the 23rd. I'll click it. I'll put create. I'll click midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will go through all the videos that have KM in them. And I will start sitting there. KM 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A. And I will get it all in there, midnight to 1 a.m., 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., right through midnight again. Just keep mixing them up, hit publish, and then Sunday, I'll do Tech Tuesday. I try to do it 2-3 days in advance. And then all during the week, I'm out there getting videos off YouTube. We have a YouTube download loader. We're creating the videos, then we're uploading them, and it takes time. It's
So if someone
frustrating.
out there is thinking that they want to do this, but they're like, man, all my videos, I don't have them anymore because I put them on YouTube. That doesn't matter because you can pull them with their permission.
I can go to YouTube. Yep. I need permission. Mm-hmm. All I need is verbal permission from them. And I can go to YouTube with this downloader I have. If your video's in 1080K, 1080p, I can download it. If it's in 4K, I can download it in 4K. It'll download it. Then I use Filmora. And I will say, okay, I'm going to take Roy's 20-minute kayak video, put it in. I'm going to take John's 15-minute video, put it in. Maybe I'll put a little commercial spot in between each video. I'll get it to a 1-hour video. I'll save it. I'll upload it to the network. And right now we're at KM03. So the next sets of videos going on will be KM04 for Kayak Monday. It'll be our 4th week, our 4th session. And they get numbered A, B, C, D. So now when I add 2 hours, say, of KM4, I'm going to take the last 2, like C and D of 01, and take them off the network. So that's how every 4 weeks, we try to cycle everything through.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. When you ask what's the most difficult part, it's like every single aspect is difficult. Because I also got to get the content creators to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to, a lot of them have 15, 20-minute videos, so I got to put 3 or 4 together. And, sometimes the blocks will be 2 hours, and I'm like, all right, it takes a little extra time, but I need to do it because I don't want to have a 1-hour block with the same person.
Unless it's a good production.
Yeah, unless it's an hour-long show.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because I've had some people submit things for the magazine, and I'm a photographer, and when the images come through, I have to I got to make them look better, sharpen them, whatever. Do you ever get content and feel like you either need to give a tutelage on how to do it better or ask permission to edit it? You know what I'm saying?
I will do. The only real editing I'll do is if you have like you do at the beginning, that countdown timer.
Mm-hmm.
I'll edit the countdown timer out because we don't need it.
Right.
Not for what we do. I listen to every minute of every show.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the button on the audio. There have been a few times I can let some stuff slide, but there are certain words I
Right.
think George Carlin summarized it real good in the 70s. 7 words you can't say on TV.
Yes.
I have to still edit those words out,
Okay.
but I don't mind.
All right. So
It's
yeah, I find that sometimes it's a, I have cleaned up a lot of images because people aren't in the mindset of this image is going to be in a magazine. They're just capturing that memory with a dirty cell phone or whatever. So I'll pull it through software and sharpen it, clean it, and I'll send it back to them edited so they can
it.
have it. So
Yeah, I'll let them know. I'll say, hey, I had to edit a few things here and there, or sometimes you'll get somebody out on the water at dusk or a little late,
hmm
and you're in an area with a lot of shade, so you try to lighten it up a little.
hmm
But nobody ever seems to have it, as long as you don't cut out a good part.
right.
You know,
I was thinking
it
more of like
seems to
the
be all right.
quality of the video. Like I've taken
They're all
some of
pretty
my.
good quality.
That's good. That's really good because
Yeah,
I've had some of my own videos where I wasn't thinking on the water with the GoPro and I'm fishing into the sun and then I have a great
yeah,
video of me silhouetted. And I'm like, well, this is dumb.
yeah. We have issues like that, but we'll try to darken it or lighten it a little.
hmm
But yeah, other than that, really don't. We want it to be natural. I want it to be as natural as it is and
hmm
as original as it can be.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't had that big of a problem. A lot of my guys will say, "Hey, just grab anything you want," and I'll watch the whole video and be like, "Ah, I got to edit the audio because they have an Alan Jackson song playing in the background. I can't use anything like that."
Right.
So we have to be careful with that. That's why that's mainly what I'm listening for.
Now, do you
You
have a
know,
list somewhere that, basically tells people what like profanity, minimize your profanity or
we
um,
just say it should be
copywritten?
we're a family friendly network,
hmm
you know? And it's like when we had Grey Goat Lures, we used to years and years ago. I used to work with some high schools, and I tell anybody that worked with us, we're going to be around high school kids.
hmm
So leave the sailor at home.
Yeah.
Bring dad with you. Don't bring the sailor with you.
Bring
Technically,
happy
because
dad. Bring happy dad with you.
yeah, bring happy dad. But remember, you're not their dad.
That's true. That's very true.
But I will admit, through all the years I've been doing this, I've been very blessed.
hmm
I've not had any incidents where I had to, tell somebody, hey, don't come around no more or anything like that. I think this industry, there are some great people, and we
Exactly.
know when and what to say. We know when it's time to. The 2 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning at the bar mouth has to stop. You
Caw-caw,
know,
caw-caw. Yeah.
yeah. We're pretty,
So let me ask you this, because I heard you say you put ads in there. So let's say someone were to take on the responsibility of, all right, I'm gonna give you would you say 25 minute for a
26 minutes.
26 minute? I'm gonna give you a 26-minute piece. Are they able to put their own advertising in the middle? Like, let's say I have my advertisers and I said, I'm going to give you a 26-minute piece and I'm going to have my advertisers in there from whatever.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I encourage it. And if you sit back, I say 26 as rough.
Right.
26 to 28. But I tell people, just like you have right now, going across the bottom of the screen,
hmm
there is nothing wrong with taking and throwing. If you're sitting there and you're throwing Strike King lures, why not put their logo in the corner? There's little ways you can get. The whole purpose of the network and the whole purpose of submitting the shows and me putting them out there is to grow your brand.
Yeah.
To grow your brand, you have to talk about the lures that make you who you are. And you have to talk about your sponsors. It's
Yeah.
just
So
common sense.
on a high level, like if you were to let's say I were to come in, I'm sponsored by these individuals, I could do legitimate ads by them.
Oh yeah.
And then if I were just, let's say, pro staff, I could talk heavily about the product in it, and even like you said, use the logo because as pro staff, I have
Yeah.
permission to do so. Yeah, as long
And,
as you,
and we encourage that.
yeah, that's awesome.
And then if you turn around and say, "Hey Al, I got you a show. I don't know when's it going to air." I'll say, "Well, I'm looking at it now. It should air around 9:15 on Saturday night."
Mm-hmm.
Go tell your sponsors, "Hey, 9:15 on the American Angler Outdoors Network. My little 15-minute video is going to be on there, and I talk about you." Because when your sponsors hear that and they see you out there,
Mm-hmm.
one of the big things as a business owner selling lures, one of the big things I look for is I look for somebody who's going to, yeah, threw this spinnerbait here. It was okay. Hey, man, we're throwing this Grey Gold Lure spinnerbait today, man, and we are having a ball. We're having a great time. We're catching fish.
Mm-hmm.
This is white sparkle with a willow, a nickel willow. You got it, and all you got to do is while you're fishing, talk about the lure you're fishing with.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, you just promoted the lure, and you've promoted you to, because you're not only trying to sell the company to new prospective clients, you're trying to sell yourself to the company to come back next year because the company says, "Hey, this guy's really talking us up.
Right.
What do we got? A $500 deal with him? Make it $1,000 next year."
Right.
Oh, that's how you grow.
And I'll tell you, to be honest with you, as you well know with myself, I've been trying to wrap my head around how to utilize the network. And I watched and listened to something else, and I was like, man, well, if I can create my own block of content, like even if you use this, my ad space is up there, they're playing. So I get another place to tell them, hey, you're also on this TV network. And that's where the value really rolls in my opinion. Because I was like, man, how? But that's it right there. I mean, you get to promote your brands.
And that's it. And the way you have it set up is the same way when I do mine. If you go look at some of my videos, I have it where we have the different products, we have the different items, and I like it. You go to my website, we have third ad, we call them full ads, which are like a banner that goes across the bottom, that goes across side to side. Then we have a third, which kind of like above my head right now, that would be a third. The Snake River and No Bad Days and Vibe, that would be a third. Now, if it went across, that would be a full. And we just put that there. We put the logo, a link, so when people click it, it goes right to them. But it's like any sport out there. You watch a NASCAR race, you watch anything like that. The first thing they do, this Exxon Chevy ran great today. Those Goodyear tires, they talk about it.
Right.
And you got to get yourself to a point where you're talking about the product you're throwing. It's not hard. Hey, I'm throwing a Lose, medium rod, 7-foot medium. I'm throwing this frog. I'm throwing that, using this line. You just get that mentality to talk about it while you're fishing. You don't really have to put commercials in because that whole 26 minutes is an infomercial. Not only is it showing you fishing, but it's talking about your sponsors. They're on your shirt. Why not talk about them?
Exactly. And most people, like you said, they do that anyway. I mean, sometimes I'm fishing. I'm not sponsored by J Bros Lures, but if I pull out one of their jesters, I talk about them. I'm not sponsored by Tactical Fishing Co., but when I pull out one of their MREs, I talk about it, and that would be a great addition to the pro staff style person who's looking to expand their reach.
Well, that's just it. And like you said, if you're not throwing the product, I mean, if you're not sponsored by them, but you're throwing it, someone might sit back and say, "Hey, Roy, you don't sponsor Al, but he's always on TV talking about throwing your products. Why don't you go give him a shout?" So you might pick up a sponsor. Basically talking about it is kind of like emailing them. You're contacting them in a different way.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was a kind of an eye opening moment listening to the ad placements and the extra eyes. It was just like a hard thing for me to wrap my head around until I was like, wait a minute. Okay, now it makes sense. Now it's a
Yep.
good thing. So, I mean, it was a good thing before, but now it makes sense as to why it's a good thing. Um,
Yeah, and what's nice is, like I said earlier, we don't stand on pomp and ceremony.
hmm
We're going to get out there right now. It's kind of a hodgepodge. You're going to see a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There's really no structure. 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9:30. We have structure as far as what you're going to see on each day.
hmm
But your show could be on at 8 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. So we want to get to that 7 p.m. to say 11 p.m. We want to get that time slot every day, Monday through Friday, to be
hmm
a solid. Roy's on every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Joe's on with his kayak fishing every Monday night at 10. So we want to get more of that and then make the rest of the day and the early mornings a little bit of repeats and a
hmm
little bit of stuff you might not see. I turned this on at 4:30 in the morning and saw something, and I was like, "Oh, was he? Did he really do that?" Because I see so many videos. I go blind sometimes. I'm like a horse, man. I'm just
I can imagine.
focused. I focus in. I probably watch at least 4 to 6 hours a day of videos, and they're 15, 20-minute clips, which is like,
Yeah, what's
so
it?
I'm like you, man. I got my headset's pretty messed up. I need a new
I
pair if anybody has one.
think
So I got that on all day.
I
Right
got
now,
a
I got
spare
the
set.
little, yeah, I got the little clip in the ear. This is my podcast headset.
Yeah, so that's interesting that you see the future you'd like to go to the structured time slots. So let's
Yes.
say somebody came in as a premium, and by premium I mean they give you a high quality video, and they're repeatedly giving you a high quality video. If they say, "Hey Al, I want to be on at 4 o'clock every blank day," like the kayak day or
We
the
can do that.
hunting day. Okay.
That's why I do everything in 1 hour, 2 hour blocks.
hmm
And on mostly 1 hour on Kayak Monday, Tech
hmm
Tuesday, those were really 1 hour because, like I said, it could be three or four content creators. The live well, we usually have 2 hour time blocks because it'll be a 45-minute podcast from one guy and an hour and 10-minute podcast from somebody else. Then I'll throw a few in between and we'll make a 2 hour. So I'm doing that so that I can say, okay, Joe, 8 o'clock Monday nights, that's your night. That's your time slot.
hmm
And everybody will know that because I will schedule stuff around it.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So
that's a yeah, that's good
that's
to
where I
know.
want to go.
hmm
And like we were saying at the beginning, see, I want to have a Wednesday night show.
hmm
I like 9 p.m. because it gives we're here on the East Coast. We forget there's three other time zones in our country.
Oh yeah,
And the ones at the other end of that time zone, 8 o'clock at night, they're just walking out of work.
yeah. I remember when they called me at midnight. Hey man, what's going on? I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah, it is. And I'll get people during my tournaments that I
hmm
run are coast to coast. Yeah, I get people, it's only 9 o'clock in their time zone, but it's midnight here.
Yes.
And my mother lives in Oregon. So I get up in the morning. Hey, I want to ask my mom, wait a second. It's 7 o'clock in the morning here. If I call her now, it's 4 o'clock. I won't need the phone because I'll hear her from Oregon yelling without the
Yes.
phone.
It makes
And I'll
it.
still duck because something will come flying at my head. She'll hit me cross country.
Yeah, I always feel like a little counterproductive in the morning sometimes. Like, all right, well, I need to speak to somebody in California about a product. Well, what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to chill out for a minute and wait. Yeah, like
That's what,
you want to
yeah,
call them, but they're not there yet. They're just not there. So,
right. And that's why I like that 9 o'clock time zone because people are 6 o'clock out west, so maybe people will be home by then.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is something I tell everybody. Now that we're working on the live, where I can go live on the network,
Mm-hmm.
have always wanted since the inception of this network, a live ESPN Sports Center style show.
Mm.
Wednesday nights. Hey guys, how you doing? This is Al. Got a co-host. We talk. I'm like, well, this past weekend, MLF was out on the James River with the Invitational. Let's go to Brian. Brian's got a report from there, and we just bring up Brian's recorded report. Boom, from the weekend show.
That's Brian
Now,
Carter, for those that don't know.
As Brian Carter from Basscast Radio. I was with him today. We were with him today at the MLF Invitational. But I want to be able to, because there are so many people out there that are like, hey, I follow this series.
Mm-hmm.
And they can send in a monthly report even. Say, hey, what happened this last month? And that's what I want. Bring on people like this, a 10-minute talk live on national TV. So that is my ultimate goal, is to have that live 1-hour show every Wednesday night talking about fishing, bringing anglers on, bringing directors on to talk about controversy or to talk about what's coming up next week. If you're, like with MLF and Bass, bringing on somebody and say, hey, next week we got a BFL over here on the Potomac with the we got the Cowboy Division in Texas fishing on this lake. We got the Southern Division here. This way it will bring people. The more mix we get show-wise, the more different organizations we talk about, the more people that'll watch.
Got it. Now, would you see that being, excuse me, like this scenario here on video, or would you like to have them actually come out? Or a mixture of both?
As far as I go, it'll be live. But as far as other people, like if a tournament director wants to say, hey, I'd like to talk, but I'm not available that late. All right, we can sit down and talk about it, and I can just sit there. Hey, everybody. Hey, Roy and I got to sit down earlier the other day, and here's the clip from that conversation we had about what's going on in Kayak Cafe.
Mm-hmm. It's exploding. It's going crazy. It's amazing.
That's just it. And you got to warn people when you're watching this that you have a cup of coffee, you turn from off to on. Because I saw that cup of coffee and I kept saying, man, can I run and get one now? I wanted to run out and get a cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I like. I like getting on here and talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone I grew up with, including my family, they're like, nah, you don't like to talk. You don't like to shut up.
So let me ask you this. So we've gone over the network, how to get on it. You don't necessarily have to have a lot of good gear. But I know after being interviewed by you at the Heroes on the Water event, you're kind of a gear guy. You like to have the good stuff. So if you were to recommend a base setup for somebody, let's say I come to you and say I want to be on your network. What do you recommend I get for videoing? Where would you send me?
A lot of people have GoPro, and GoPro is good. There is a company out there, I can't remember it, DJI.
Mm-hmm.
If you can afford it, audio and video-wise, I would go with them. I'm not sponsored by them. In fact, I don't have any of their gear. And I've looked at videos and audio using their gear. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. It's great. For big mics, I use like studio mics. I use Boya only because I like the way they are. My camera is a Panasonic Lumix. So it's a DSLR, but it's a 4K camera.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It has drawbacks. It has some drawbacks, but it is a nice basic camera. We have a GoPro 4, a Hero 8. We love that. When they work good.
Mm-hmm.
The big catch is when they work. And to be honest, I've done some of my best videos right off of this.
Oh yeah.
This is, you got to use the cable to download it
Hmm.
because it takes forever if you go on it, if you go wireless, but it does work great.
I have this rig for my phone,
Right.
and it goes right into a
And
memory card. I mean, a hard drive.
yeah, and I have an older iPad, so I don't use it that much.
Hmm.
I use it when I have the camera, so I can be in front of the camera and not have that little tiny screen
Right.
that's like half the size of this.
Hmm.
So this way I have a nice size screen. But once we hit record, because the screen is in 1080 and we're recording in 4K, the screen turns off. It won't
Yes.
record it. So, but yeah, you can really use, but DJI is great. Um, Insta360. I had one. I sent it to a friend who's using it and trying it out, see what he thinks of it. It is a great video. It is a great picture, and I think it records in 5K, and now they're up to 6 and 8K.
Yeah. The one I have
But
does 8K.
it's more of a fish bowl.
Yeah. So with mine, I have to what they call de-warp it, and it pulls it straight. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't care, but what I do like about the Insta360 for me, because I like to set the camera up and then stand in one spot and just walk across the say the dock and
Hmm.
talk. With the 360 in editing, you can put a box and it will follow you like a cameraman is walking down with you.
Oh yes.
So I did like that option. I did like that. But I got a buddy looking at it, see what he can do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with the DJI. I've heard a lot of good things about them.
I
I've
have.
personally, I haven't had a lot of luck with a GoPro. It usually cuts off when I catch something or it overheats.
That's been mine. There's a box over there with 2 GoPros in it.
Hmm.
If I mean, I like them. I'll throw one on the dash of the truck when I'm driving,
Hmm.
pointed forward, and I'll just sit there and I can turn it on with my phone or my iPad and say, "Okay, everybody, hey, look at that, man. We're exit 18. We're a mile from the exit," just to get a little footage,
Right.
a little travel footage.
And if it blows off, you're not out a bunch.
No, and I other than that though, I've heard the newer GoPros are better,
Yeah. Well,
but they're
I
also
think I
more
had
expensive.
an 11. I think it's the highest I went. And then I went to the Insta360 X4 and then sold that to get the X5. So I'm doing
All right, I had
8K
the
and
X3.
yeah. So I like it. I mean, for me, it's beautiful because I put it right in front of me and I catch everything every way. So,
I know
because
that's what I loved about it.
yeah, awesome. So, well, I think we're pretty much at our hour mark. I mean, is there anything that we've missed that you want to cover? Or
What one thing that we do here is I'm I don't I don't want people to think they work. So many people are like, well, why should I come work for you? You're not working for me.
Mhm.
You're joining me. I don't run this as a business in that sense. I run it as a bunch of friends
Mhm.
just sharing. I don't like that. I'm your boss, you're this, you're that. We all work together. The only way these videos are going to show and are going to be right is if we team up and do this as a team. If I say something, it's constructive,
Mhm.
you know. But when it comes to a lot of people say, what's in it for me? What's in it for you is exposure. You're going to get that
Yeah.
exposure.
Mhm.
You're going to promote your brand, your sponsors.
Right.
And once we get to that, say like in 2026, once we get to that point, my goal has been, and I've been working with some friends, is to have it structured where in your show, you gave me 2 minutes. I put a minute at the beginning, a minute at the end. I got $100 in commercial. You get 40, I get 60. So once we get down the line and we start making revenue, I want to split it with those
Mm-hmm.
that are being part of this. So I want to hopefully down the line, there's a little bit of revenue in there for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that as a potential as well. But I mean, I think having the extra platform to, we've discussed, share your sponsors and share your pro staff position in front of someone on a TV network is a huge value add.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing it that way, you know. And like you said, people like, what's in it for me? I always ask that question. I was like, why should I do that? It doesn't make sense to me. And then it clicked when I was like, wait a minute, Snake River Manufacturing would love to hear that they are on a TV show on Roku.
Right. And then if you talk to them and they said, hey, Al, we got a little 30-second commercial. Can you put it at the beginning of his shows? We'll do it. Or we'll mix it in with the rest of it so it's there on other nights, like Kayak Monday. Their commercial would go great on Kayak Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that people have to understand. Yeah, you need, when you go for a job interview, you don't pick up a phone and say, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can do that. You go in, you sit down face to face, and you talk to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this show is a 28-minute job interview every week with your current sponsors. And like you said earlier, you don't throw this product, you're not sponsored by a product, but hey, I throw it in certain circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big questions was, Al, I love your spinner baits. I got your logo, but every once in a while, Strike King has one that's a little better. So use it. Use what's going to help you.
Right.
And that's just it. Now you get, you're basically planting a seed for another sponsor down the road.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I think it's been very informative.
We're here.
Yeah. It's great meeting you in person. I'm going to see you other places many other times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You go everywhere. You're just about everywhere. So.
I'm retired now, so I mean, I kept saying that to the guy that ran the MLF tournament today. I kept saying, yeah, I'm retired if you ever need a hand.
Yeah. I'd like to get out of the house. Call me.
Yes. And the woman in the other room would love it too.
Yeah.
When I told her this morning, I said, I'm going. I'll be back later on. She's like, don't rush.
Yeah. My wife plays board games. I go fishing. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, mine plays Candy Crush.
Oh, yeah. We all may be guilty of that at some point, but all right, Al, I'm going to put you in the background and I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and I'll come back in for you.
All right, everybody, take care.
Thank you again. All right, everyone, that was episode 24 with Al Paliani. It was great talking to him about the American Angler Outdoor Network. He's done some great things there. If you haven't, go to I don't want to lie to you here, the AmericanAnglerOutdoors.com and check him out. They've got some great stuff on there, including a nice questionnaire for you to become the next talent on their page. So, again, if you get an opportunity, please go to snakerivermanufacturing.us and see all that Steve and the crew are working on. They are innovating at a rate that is mind-blowing. Also, once again, NoBadDaysKayak.com. Forrest and the crew are having a liquidation sale, I believe. They've got some great kayaks at some amazing prices, so go give them a look. Also, go to vibe.com if you're looking for a nice tournament rig or some type of pleasure craft. They've got a little bit of everything for everyone. Also, if you're in the market for some coffee, kayakcoffee.com has given us code CAFE20 for 20% off their coffee. I love the smell of it. It's some great stuff. Also, if you go to Nico's Art Therapy on Facebook, I've given them exclusive rights to using this cup to sell. So if you buy a cup, 100% of the proceeds go to Nico and his therapy. All right. Once again, thank you all for joining me, and look forward to seeing you next week. Goodbye.